It started like every cliché of youth and freedom. I had gone to Italy with a few friends from college, a group trip to Rome, then Florence, maybe Venice if we had time. I was 25, unburdened, and for once in my life, free from the suffocating routine of my job back home. The air in Italy was different, like history and sin had mixed with the scent of wine and cigarette smoke. That night was supposed to be just another memory to blur into the next. I didn't know it would change me forever. We'd spent the entire day touring ruins, and by evening I just wanted a drink. My friends were tired and went back to the hotel. I decided to stay out a little longer. The city pulsed with energy, people laughing, neon signs flickering, street performers making the cobblestones come alive. I ducked into a small bar near Piazza Navona, ordered a whiskey, and started chatting with whoever would listen. The music was soft, the lights dim, and my mind comfortably numb. That's when I met them. Three men, dark-skinned, maybe North African or Middle Eastern in their late 20s. They stood out not because of their appearance but their intensity. They had that restless, watchful energy of people who had lived hard lives. One of them noticed my accent when I ordered another drink and asked where I was from. "America," I said. He grinned, showing a gold tooth. "America, big money." We laughed, we talked. They told me they were migrants working odd jobs, sometimes sleeping near the train station. They weren't dangerous. Or at least, they didn't seem to be. Maybe it was the alcohol, maybe it was the way the night softened everything, but I felt drawn to their energy, raw, unfiltered, alive. One of them, the one with the gold tooth, asked if I wanted to really party. I hesitated. It was past midnight. But then he said, "No tourists, just friends, you'll like it." I should have said no. God, I should have said no. We left the bar and walked through narrow streets that twisted like veins through the heart of Rome. The city was different at night, the air colder, the silence thicker. We reached a part of town I didn't recognize, graffiti-covered walls, flickering lamps, stray cats darting between trash bins. My gut told me to turn back, but my pride and the whiskey told me to keep walking. They led me into a small courtyard behind an abandoned building. There were more of them there, maybe 5 or 6, smoking, laughing, speaking in a language I didn't understand. They passed around cheap wine in a plastic bottle. I took a sip. It burned like acid but loosened the last of my hesitation. I was one of them now, or so I thought. The music came from someone's phone, a low, rhythmic beat, and we started dancing. I laughed, they laughed, and for a fleeting moment, I felt like I belonged. But then everything changed. A man stumbled into the courtyard. Another migrant, I guessed, tall, skinny, maybe in his 30s. He shouted something at the man with the gold tooth. I couldn't understand the words, but I could feel the hate. The air shifted, heavy with tension. The laughter stopped. The man with the gold tooth stepped forward, his jaw clenched, veins standing out on his neck. He shouted back, his voice sharp like a blade. The others circled them slowly. I realized then this wasn't a party anymore. It was a confrontation. I tried to step back, to disappear into the shadows, but my feet wouldn't move. The two men were inches apart now, their words turning into growls. The tall one shoved him hard. The gold-toothed man stumbled but didn't fall. Then, in a blur of motion, he pulled something from his jacket, a knife, small but wickedly sharp. What happened next felt unreal. The knife flashed in the dim light, slicing through the air. The tall man gasped, his hands flying to his stomach. Blood bloomed through his shirt, dark and thick. He staggered backward, but the others closed in. They didn't shout, they didn't panic, they just attacked like a pack of wolves. The sound was wet, stabbing, grunting, flesh meeting steel. I froze, unable to breathe. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. It was happening right in front of me, maybe 10 feet away, and all I could do was watch. He tried to fight back, but they overwhelmed him. I counted the blows in my head like some sick clock. 1, 2, 5, 10, 15. By 20, he was barely moving. By 30, he was gone. When they finally stopped, there was silence. Only the sound of dripping blood filled the courtyard. The man with the gold tooth stood over the body, chest heaving. His eyes flicked toward me. And in that instant, I thought I was next. I took a step back, hands raised. He looked at me for a long time, then said something I didn't understand. His tone wasn't threatening. It was cold, dismissive, like I didn't matter enough to kill. That was my chance. I ran. I don't remember my feet hitting the ground. I just remember running through the maze of streets, lungs on fire, heart pounding like a drum in my skull. I burst onto a main road, flagged down a taxi, and collapsed in the back seat. The driver shouted something in Italian, but I couldn't answer. I gave him the name of my hotel and told him to drive. When I got back, I went straight to the shower. I scrubbed my hands over and over, even though there was no blood on them. I could still smell it, iron and smoke and fear. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep for many nights after that. The next morning, I turned on the news. Nothing. No mention of a murder, no police reports, just another day in paradise. I checked for days afterwards, still nothing. Maybe they dumped the body somewhere. Maybe no one ever reported it. Maybe the dead man didn't exist on paper. I tried to convince myself it hadn't happened, that I'd hallucinated it in a drunken haze. But deep down, I knew. Every time I close my eyes, I see his face. The way the knife went in. The way his body crumpled. The way his eyes locked with mine for a split second before the light went out. When I got home, I told no one. Not my friends, not my family, who would believe me anyway. Tourist witnesses murder in Rome. It would sound like a bad movie plot. And part of me was ashamed. I could have gone to the police, maybe saved someone else. But I didn't. I ran. Years later, I still dream about that courtyard. The cobblestones are slick with blood, and the man with the gold tooth is always standing there, staring at me. Sometimes he smiles. Sometimes he whispers something I can't quite hear. And every time I wake up drenched in sweat, heart pounding, like I'm still running. They say Rome is the eternal city. Maybe that's true, some parts of it live forever. But not all of it is beautiful. Some parts are dark, hidden beneath the postcard-perfect streets, waiting for foolish tourists like me. That night, I learned that not all ghosts wear sheets. Some carry knives, and some still walk the alleys of Rome.